Partaya
Pradipodita Bhagavata Narayana Swayam Vyasena Kradita Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaita Vridavarshini Bhagavati Ashtadasadhyayini Ambatvam Santata Bhagavad Gita Bhagavadveshini. படிச்சுட்டு அப்படி வச்சிருக்கேன். எங்க கண்டினியூ பண்ணா
Mayarpitam.
He is one whose knowledge is well defined.
அதுக்கு முன்னாடி Mayarpita Manobuddhi.
Mayarpita Manobuddhi. Manas and Buddhi have two distinct functions and are therefore mentioned separately here. Nature of the mind is to vacillate between one thing and its opposite. Sankalpa Vikalpat Makam Manaha. Buddhi. On the other hand,
Vikalpat Makam Manaha. Then now Buddhi is describing. Buddhi is, on the other hand,
Buddhi, on the other hand, is characterized by resolve or determined knowledge. Both of these, Bhagavan says, are surrendered to me, Mayi Arpite. All doubts are resolved in the wake of the knowledge of Parameshwara. Manas, Buddhi, everything is placed in Paramatma. That is, there are no doubts because a person is awake to Paramatma. This is the reason for his Drida Nishchaya.
Confirmed knowledge. Yeah.
Similarly, he is a yogi because he is Yatatma. This cause of its relationship between two words is called Hetumat Bhava.
Yeah.
The cause Hetu is that he is a Mayarpita Mano Buddhi. The result of that, the thing that has the cause inherent in it. Hetumat is his Drida Nishchaya. This is one of the technical expressions used to help us understand the Shastra.
Yeah, actually that is basically wherever this Hetumat Bhava comes, what one precedes, Hetu precedes the Hetumat Bhava. That is, what is first, what is the consequential, that is very lot of places it is used. Even we have seen it before also, that Vitaraga Bhaya Krodaha. Vitaraga Bhaya Krodaha meaning that Raga Dvesha is going. Vitam means going. That is Vitaraga Bhaya Krodaha meaning for you to be without Raga, Bhayam, Krodham and all that. For that there is there's something more elevating. Is this Atma Jnanam, the Shraddha in that, and the Mumukshutvam, that is to be that, for that all my life I commit, irrespective of whatever I am doing, I commit myself to have an internal infrastructure so that my understanding about the higher reality will be there. That will eventually leave me without Raga Bhaya Krodha. See, the idea of Raga Dvesha is because we have got a value for it, because we have not discovered a value for something higher. Unless you discover a value for something real and something lasting, everlasting, you will catch on to the straw. Whatever that is, like Swamiji always used to say, when you are drowning, whatever that comes along, you will catch. After some time, you will find what you have caught is not a wooden piece or something. It is a bear. You are not catching the bear. Bear is catching you. He is also trying to escape from the floods. And you got something to hold. You hold it, and now he is holding you. Likewise, also in our life, we hold on to our raga dvesha for our happiness. But after some time we find Raga Dvesha have a hold on you. You are not able to leave them. So the typical example, in the same way, why we do that? Why we do that? Because we have not found something more elevating in life, something more really meaningful, fulfilling, unless it is discovered. So that is the hetu. To discover what you call something more fulfilling, more elevating, more real. Something should be there in your hand, like in your cognition. There should be something elevating that is appearing in your mental thing. For that, even for appearing that, you need lot of punya and all that. So for that only you live a life of contributory life and Ishvara Atma Buddhi Prasad Buddhi, all that. By being having that sort of Arpana Buddhi, Prasada Buddhi, you will get a level mind wherein you will be able to appreciate what you will be able to look for what is some self-fulfilling, what is more fulfilling in life. Once you have a hang of that, then you will not be in the hands of Raga Bhaya Krodha. So that is Hetu and Hetumat Bhava is regularly used in the Shastra. That's what he is explaining here. Here also something similar he is talking about. Yeah.
Such a person, Bhagavan says, is my devotee. Mad Bhaktaha. Whenever Bhagavan uses the word my, there is a potential problem. It implies that there is something different from Bhagavan. Like when you say my servant, the servant is different from you. When he says he is my devotee, Mad Bhaktaha, and is beloved to me, Sa me Priyaha.
Priyaha. Yeah, Jnaninam tu Same Priyaha, he has told before. Yeah.
It looks as though the Lord is partial to those who praise Him like anyone else who is vulnerable to flattery. If sugar were personified and you were to say, "Oh sugar, you are so sweet," it would not get flattered because it is sweet by nature. If you tell a person he is sweet, however, he can feel good about it because he knows how many problems he has and for the time being he can forget them. Praise of Bhagavan is always inadequate. When we say he is all compassion and yet have very little understanding of compassion, how much weight can those words carry? With our small fraction of compassion, we stretch our imagination to all compassion. It is the same for omniscience or any other absolute virtue. Since we do not know anything about it, or talking about it has little meaning. It is like Einstein's driver telling him what a wonderful scientist he is. Such praise only has meaning if it comes from a colleague or superior. Otherwise, it always conveys something less than what he is. Praising Bhagavan with a limited knowledge, the individual mind cannot even approach what he deserves. If he gets flattered by that, he has a problem. But Bhagavan does not get flattered because he knows that he is much more than what you can say, whatever you say. So if that is so, why are we telling Vishnu Sahasranamam?
Slokas.
Yeah, that is what he is coming to. It is all coming to in the sense, it is basically, it is all the abundance or the absoluteness, the infinite, what is indescribably fulfilling, is what we caricature as Bhagavan. That's what he is trying to say. It is not that even though it looks like Bhagavan and all that, it is not that Bhagavan is not something outside. Bhagavan is the sum total or something more than the total, the total of all of us. So that is what we are caricaturing as Bhagavan and worshipping. Because we are not able to, the total, like he said, the total, how can we appreciate? We can't appreciate the total. Because even whatever limited things around us we are not able to appreciate. How can you appreciate the total? So you cannot really visualize. So for visualizing purpose you say Bhagavan, that's all. That's what he is trying to say. There is nothing like Bhagavan outside of us. So our praising Vishnu Sahasranamam and all is purely to elevate ourselves, that to ensure that all the vibhutis, whatever we can think of, put them in words. The rishis have done that. the Rishis, Vyasa Bhagavan have done that. Whatever glories that possibly can be conceived, all of them have been given a nama, and you have said that everything belongs to you. The idea is you are not separate. Whatever glories of vibhutis, everything that is within you or all around the world, everything is in one being. That is the Vishnu Sahasranama. So by appreciating that, when you say that, then we understand that there is no Anya Bhakti, in the sense we are not separate from that Bhagavan which we have described by the Vishnu Sahasranama. That is precisely the Tatparya behind the whole thing. It is not to keep him away or to be afraid of Bhagavan. It is purely the oneness that is described in the Vishnu Sahasranama or any Sahasranama or Lalita Sahasranama. Lalita Sahasranama, it very clearly starts. What is it? The first thing, Atma iti vibhave. Atma iti vibhave. Beginning comes, no, what is it? You chant it. You chant it right now.
Nam Karunadaringidakshi.
Atma iti vibhave varum.
Vani vyayet Padma Sagastham.
So Atma iti vibhave, in the sense, our Atma alone is vibhave as the Lalitambike.
Aham ityeti
vibhave. Aham ityeti.
Want to refresh? Want to refresh? பண்ணலாம் அவர் பண்ணும் தெரியாது நம்ம என்ன பண்ணணும்
புரியல
1 minute some spam call has come.
ரிஃப்ரெஷ்லாம் வேண்டாம் எனக்கு தெரியாது ஹலோ ஹலோ நான் சொல்லி பார்த்தேன் வேண்டாம் அவர் சொல்ற அந்த கான்டெக்ட்
Yeah. So, all the Sahasranama that aham mityeti vibhavaye. Aham mityeti vibhavaye. That aham is what? Our own Swarupa. Vibhavaye means in so many names and forms. Vibhavanam meaning in so many names and forms I am Prakashikiran. So, this is the Tatparya of that whole Sahasranama, any Sahasranama for that matter. So, it is not because we want to, in the sense, it is easier to start that way. In the sense, when you start your life, when you start your sense of surrender, when you start appreciating the Mahatvam of Ishvara and all that, that is the beginning of understanding your own reality. But finally, the reality and Bhagavan's reality and your reality is not different. That is what is eventually the meaning of even those Sahasranama, lot of places we go, it's all Vedanta. So there will be 3 types of namas. One is Alankara, one is for worship, the third is for Vedanta. And then certain things like Ahamiti, Trigunaditaha, that is Bhagavan, that comes in even Bhagavad Gita. Trigunadita means what? If you are Gunatita means you are not the Desakala Vastu Aparichinnam. Only that can be Gunatita. That is nothing but Atma. Timeless, spaceless, objectless being. So that is the reality. The final reality is that. But the problem is people finding it difficult. Even the greatest scientist finds it difficult to appreciate the Desakala Vastu Aparichinna, the being as a reality. They are not, because they are so much used to this empirical data. Anything which is covered by data only can understand. Even the minutest of the minutest data alone they can appreciate. So they cannot appreciate the Sukshma Tamam. That is the Kushagreya Buddhi which we are talking about. And what that is, that even in Tattvabodha that comes, the Panchikritam. Without Panchikrita Mahabhutam, without Apanchikrita, that means even before the Panchikritam has happened, the being that is there, whether can you visualize? Not possible. So easy, not easy. That is why these are all the steps. Ishvara Upasana, then appreciating by understanding that Ishvara Arpana Buddhi, Prasada Buddhi, Mayarpita Mano Buddhi, Bhagavan is trying to handhold us to say that everything in the whole Gita, wherever he talks about Mayarpita Mano Buddhi, you can replace it with the word Aham. If your understanding is thorough. So that is precisely what we have to get to finally. As of now, it is provisionally he tells. That is why he is explaining that the Bhagavan is not sitting somewhere and being partial with people. He is not. There is nothing like that. That is what he is trying to explain. Now, when we read it further, we will know. Yeah.
If this is understood, how can the Lord say, He is beloved to me, He is my devotee? This is the basis for all sects of duality. In this expression, there are no two separate entities called Krishna or his devotee intended. The person he is talking about is Santushta
Satatam Yogi. A person who is ever happy and ever in one with the unison with Ishvara. That is what Jnani is referring to. Santushtaha Satatam Yogi. As if that is in the verse. He is explaining the Jnani part of it. Santushtaha Satatam Yogi. That's how he has started the verse. Yeah.
That can only be a Jnani. If he is a simple devotee, a Karma Yogi, he will be a Santushtaha, relatively, but not Satatam Santushtaha. He can also be a yogi to some degree, but not Satatam Yogi.
So the Satatam qualifies both Santushtaha and Yogitvam. Both. Satatam Santushtaha Yogi means Satatam Santushtaha and Satatam Yogi. So only a Jnani can be Satatam Santushtaha and Satatam Yogi. That's what he is trying to say. Yeah.
And he cannot be a Drida Nishchaya at all, because as a devotee he will be plagued with doubts about his identity with Ishvara. He is speaking only of a Jnani here, not a Bhakta. The Jnani is beloved to Bhagavan in the sense that he is non-separate from himself. When someone is beloved to you, where do you see this belovedness? It does not exist in any given attribute to the person, but in your own attitude, in his or her presence, or even at the thought of the person you experience yourself as totally accepting and accepted. Two individuals resolve in love, and each becomes an object of love for the other. There is unity, and that emotional identity is revealed by the word Priya. Saying someone is beloved to you is saying he is one with you. Here, even though the Jnani is recognized as an individual with one mind, one set of senses, still Bhagavan says he is essentially one with me. Therefore, my devotee is beloved to me, Mad Bhaktaha Same Priyaha.
So this Mad Bhaktaha Same Priyaha is only Upacharikam. Upacharikam meaning it is just Upacharathakam children, yeah. Just that is how it is. It is not that he is separate from him, but he says Mad Bhaktaha Ma Priyaha, meaning myself, both of us are one and the same. Ani is nothing but Ishvara. Ishvaroham. That is what he is trying to say. So that is why we, in the sense, the problem, unless understand and cognitively and the sense, something more than cognition as a reality, once you own it up only, you can give up this word of Ishvara Upasana, Ishvara Bhakti and all that. You can give up those words only when you become a Jnani who is one with Bhagavan. Then there is either way you call him a Jnani or Aham or Brahma or Ishvara, Atma, it doesn't make a difference. All are one and the same. But till that time we need these words to convey our propitiation so that we get into the zone of understanding, thorough understanding. That's what he's trying to say. Yeah.
Actually, Swamiji, even Lalita Sahasranama, Stotra Priya Stutimati.
That's what those are certain words are there, certain namas are there which are purely upasana. Upasana, there is worship. Certain namas are alankaram, like Shankasakra Gada Bane, Dwaraga, Nadayachiga, and all that. These are alankaram. Our pratima, how it is decorated, alankara words, alankaram. Those namas are there. That is, they are not Vedanta, they are for purpose of upasana only. But there are certain words, certain namas which talk about Eko Aneka, Vishnu this thing is Ekam Anekam, everything is one and the same. So Grasas Tulaha, that is both the grass and the stula, the big are one and the same. All those things are Vedantic description. So to resolve all differences between you and Bhagavan. So that is, those are words of Vedanta understanding words. But there are some stuti words also, there are some decorative words also, alankara. They are all that, it's all mixed. Till the time you get to that understanding. But even though some of them are Vedanta based, that's what I am trying to say. Yeah.
Which verse are we reading now?
14.
So we are the same, no? The 12th, 14th verse expansion. 14th verse, many paras have gone.
Paragraph are there.
Last two paragraphs. Is the last but one paragraph.
Last but one paragraph. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the 7th chapter.
The 7th chapter. Yeah.
Where
The
the
7th
most
chapter.
beloved for the wise man, Preha hi jnananiha
Jnaninaha.
atyartam aham.
Priyaha hi jnaninaha atyartam aham. So I am the most beloved. Same thing he has explained. I am the most beloved for the wise man. Priyaha hi jnaninaha. For the jnaninaha, wise man, priyaha hi, I am the most beloved. That is the atyartam aham. The sense he doesn't have anything else other than me as the most beloved. Yeah, atyartam. Atyartam. Yeah.
Here he makes it complete by saying Same Priyaha. He is the most beloved to me. It has to be understood both ways. Then it is a Mahavakya. Otherwise it would mean I may be Bhagavan, but Bhagavan is not me. It is like saying the mind is me, but I am not the mind. Here, not only am I Brahman, Brahman is myself. Therefore, we say both Aham Brahmasmi and Brahma Aham Asmi, which means there is no division. There is also a prayer to understand.
That is why in the Sandhya Vandanam we say both. Asa Adityo Brahma, Brahmaivaham Asmi. That is what he says. Aham Brahmasmi and Brahma Aham Asmi. Both ways. Asa Adityo Brahma, Brahmaivaham Asmi. And then finally we say Brahmaiva Satyam also in Sandhya Vandanam. So the same thing he is telling here. Yeah.
There is also a prayer to understand the oneness of Ishvara and myself, which says Ma Aham Brahma Nirakuryam Ma Brahma Nirakarot.
Yeah, this is the Shanti Pata. The Shanti Pata in some Upanishads, particular, every Veda has got a Shanti Pata. So by seeing the Shanti Pata, we know which Veda it belongs to. Rig Veda has got a particular Shanti Pata, and Yajur Veda has got something. And this is for Atharva Veda. This Maham Brahma Nirakuryam Mama Brahma Nirakarot. What is Maham Brahma Nirakuryam, meaning let me not reject Brahman. And then let Brahman also not reject me. Both ways it is told, the prayer. That's what he says. Yeah.
May I not reject Brahman. May Brahman as Ishvara not reject me. In that I can discover what is said here, Same Priyaha. As long as I see myself as separate, Ishvara becomes the giver of grace, and I invoke that grace to know the identity of Jiva and Ishvara. Beloved is a figurative expression here. In the creation, there is nothing dearer than yourself. If someone is beloved to me, it is only because he or she makes you happy. What you really love is the pleased you, and you are always searching for that which will invoke the pleased person in you. Only Atma is Priya, and when Bhagavan says Same Priyaha, it means he is myself, Ananda Swarupa. That is the real me, and there is no other thing in the world that is Priya. Therefore, me Priyaha, it means Mama Swarupaha.
That's what I have told before also, no? That
Yes.
what is that? Atmanastu Kamaya Sarvam Priyam Bhavati. Yajnavalkya statement in Maitreya Brahmanam in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. So only for my own sake, only when I am pleased in a particular circumstance, we say I love that circumstance. It is not that you love that circumstance. You are happy in that circumstance. That is why you say so. So what is essentially required is you are being happy. So for that, if there are the circumstance helpful, then you love that circumstance. You like to be there. That's all what he's trying to say. Yeah.
Verse 15.
So the entire verse 14 with so much elaborate discussion is about jnani. In the sense, a person who can be satatam yogi, satatam santushtaha, he has got a drida nishchaya, yatha atma, meaning he has got a clear understanding. Yatanam is in terms of understanding. Then naturally, mayarpita manobuddhi, in the sense he is always, irrespective of whatever work station in life, stage in life he is, mayarpita manobuddhi, he is, whatever he does it Ishvara Arpana Buddhi and takes it as a prasadam. Therefore, naturally his life revolves around that oneness with Bhagavan, that means oneness with his own Swarupa, and so he is happy. Satatam Santushtaha and Satatam Yogi. So he has explained the whole thing in very detailed manner for a jnani, how is it. Now what he is going for? Then he further describes jnani. Previously he has talked about yogi and he has compared yogi and what you call a Patanjali yogi, that is who tries to control the mind to get that yogitvam, which is only temporary. How long you can sit without the mind emptying the thoughts? Not possible. So best is to be the yogi, which is a karma yogi as described in Gita. In the sense, by doing all your thing in the past Ishvara Arpanam and Prasada Buddhi, that way you develop a composure, a state of mind where your mind is prepared for accepting, for understanding that Ishvara is everything. I am not away from that Ishvara. That jnanam, that inquiry will happen. Once that happens, you become a jnani. Once a jnani, you are always satatam santushta. All this thing he has explained now, till now. Now he is further saying that how the jnani conducts himself in the world. Like even in the second chapter he asks, Sita Prajna Ka Bhasha, how he will conduct himself in the world. There Bhagavan has told certain things. The same thing he will be telling in different words now. Because Arjuna, unless he is convinced, he will ask the same thing in different questions. He doesn't want to annoy Krishna, but he will keep on playing with the words, say, how is it, how is it. In the next chapter also he will ask the same thing. So Bhagavan also patiently explains in various ways, like Swamiji does by various anecdotes, to make us understand. People come from different background. So even with anyone from any background must be able to appreciate the truth. So that is why they keep on doing different anecdotes. It also is trying to say this is the same thing. And in terms of questioning, Arjuna comes up with different questions to clear all his doubts, and Krishna is patiently explaining that. Yeah.
So that means whenever we think of any raga dvesha, we should aim at something bigger.
Yeah, in the sense, raga dvesha itself is a consequence of a lack of self-fulfillment. That is what you are trying to, you want to become self-fulfilled, you want to be happy with yourself, but since you are not, you are looking for some crutches. By fulfilling this I will be happy, by getting rid of this I will be happy. We go on, the whole life is lived like that, right from in the earlier period you would have looked for a balloon. Now you are looking for a bigger balloon like a Mercedes Benz or whatever it is. Both of them are balloons essentially. So that is what he is trying to say. The raga dvesha is only the crutches for full self-fulfillment. So that is why self-fulfillment, by the word itself, is within the self, it is not outside. But we are always bahirmukhaha. Bahirmukhaha means all our indriyas, unfortunately or fortunately, they are always looking outside. And we always think that something outside is there for me to be happy. Whereas the only thing that is inside, antarmukhi bhava, is only manaha, manas, buddhi and all that. So that the whole Gita is attacking only that, manas and buddhi, how to make your mind and buddhi antarmukhi bhava. Look for the last fulfillment within. Because it is not outside, whatever it may be. So for you to become antarmukhi bhava, your mind should be ready. For that only this karma yoga and all these values are being talked about. That's what continuously they keep doing.
Verse 15. Yasmano vijate loko lokanno vijate sayaha harsha marsha bhayo vegai mukto yasacha me priyaha. Yeah, yasman no udvijate lokaha. Udvijam means that is something no very
very forcefully you are getting angry or whatever it is. Udvijam means there is some vegam. That vegam also will come. Vegam will be there. And then harsha, marsha, that also is like, this is all extreme feelings, elation, intolerance, fear and etc. Because simple raga, or we can still retain some composure. Whether acquiring that raga, getting rid of that, you will still be able to apply your mind properly and do dharmically, whether you want to get something or you want to get rid of something. That is okay. But when it becomes udvegam, when it becomes all extreme emotion, you become the emotion. There the emotion is not different from you. So you lose all your faculty of dharma. So somehow you have to get it. So that is precisely what he is referring to now. Let us read it. Yeah.
Yes, Mark. The one who is because of whom, lokaha, people, na udvijate, do not get disturbed. Cha yaha, and who, lokat, because of people, na udvijate, does not get disturbed. Yaha cha, and the one, harsha, marsha, amarsha, by udvega, vegaihi.
Udvegaihi, yeah.
Vegaihi.
Plural, udvegaihi, plural, yeah.
From elation, intolerance, fear and anxiety. Muktaha, who is free. Saha me priyaha, is beloved to me. The one because of whom people do not get disturbed and who does not get disturbed by people and who is free from elation, intolerance, fear and anxiety is beloved to me.
See, it's a beautiful thing. He says, yeah, in a sense, he is not telling that you should not have, like, you like coffee, somebody likes tea. So those are not the things that are going to make you raga and dvesha. You cannot call it, I have a raga for coffee and I got a dvesha for tea and all that. So we should not get sidetracked by our such frivolous things. What exactly really make you udvaigehi is your relationship with people. That is where you get you strongly feel for or against. Those are the things you should avoid initially, not to get into those extreme emotions. So that is precisely what Bhagavan is giving a clue, that one because of whom people do not get disturbed very seriously. If you can be like that person, where you don't evoke extreme emotions in the other person. People, either I hate you or I love you. Not like that. So desperate. It's a desperate situation. You must be, in the sense, yatharthama arkanam. In the sense, you will be, Swamiji always used to say, you must be predictable. You must be predictable. Ivarta pona, at least the அளவுக்கு தெரியணும். You unpredictable. Mood இருந்தா sign பண்ணுவார், இல்லைன்னா sign பண்ண மாட்டார். So mood நன்னா இருக்கான்னு பார்த்துதான் எல்லாரும் கேமிட்லயே enter பண்ணுவார். So that sort of a thing, that becomes very difficult to deal with. So that the jnani will not be like that. That's what he's trying to say. He's giving an unlike example. Unlike example means how you should not be. That's what he's trying to say. So that we can develop that as a sadhana. For a jnani, it's a natural. For you, it is a sadhana. Meaning you can be like that. You can try to be like that. You can emulate that. So that you can also get into that. His way of understanding life and all that. That's what he's trying to say. Yeah.
Swamiji, that's all. Okay.
That means a person, all of us should aim at becoming a jnani, and in that process, we should avoid getting any bad emotion with anybody.
Exactly. That is a yoga. Yoga.
Not only bad, good also.
Yeah, anything, no, as I used to say, first reaction will be what? Then, so what? Immediately, next moment, you must be able to say, so what? Irrespective of whether it is good, bad, ugly, whatever it is. Any situation in life, first reaction may be, what? Then, so what? Must be able to bring it down quickly, the temper. Then you will be able to be composed and deal with it appropriately, whether it is a good thing or a bad thing. So that is a yoga. That is part of it is yoga. That is why what is a siddha vishayam for a jnani is a sadhana for you. For him it is natural, spontaneous. For you it can be a sadhana. You can look at him and emulate that. By emulating that, Swamiji used to say that fake it and make it. You can, initially it may not be there, but you can fake it. Try and do it, but with sincerity, not for showing off to others that you are okay. No. For your own sake, try to bring that immediately, whatever it may be, good, bad, something happens, immediately don't hit the ceiling. Just calm down and do whatever is appropriate to the situation. Like that we do it for regularly for some time, that will grow on you. That will help you in the sense to have that composure. And then when you study this, it will make more sense. Without that, it doesn't make sense. It remains separate. The study and your living style remains separate. That should not happen. That congruence is important. Then only the study will work. Yeah.
Actually, Swamiji, I have always felt that these extreme emotions come out of some kind of attachment to the person and an expectation. No,
That's all. No. The problem is we all build it up. The sense without our own knowledge, we allow it to build up in our life for whatever reasons. You can call it prarabdha, you can get circumstances in which you are brought up. All those things different. But once you are 30, 40, you must start looking at it. What is this? It doesn't really help me, or it doesn't help others. Why we should get out of it slowly? In the sense, that is where we have to have a re-look at the whole thing. The way in which we go, but we cannot, otherwise we become mechanical. In the sense, all that reaction, all this extreme thing is mechanical. If you really, they are not deliberate. It just happens at the moment, impulsive, what we call impulsive. You should not be impulsive. The impulsive means you are not applying your mind, your deliberation is not there. So, first we have to develop that quality of deliberation in any situation, instead of acting on impulse. Then slowly tone it down, bring it down in your day-to-day life, regularly, on a regular basis, be observant. That is why that apramatta, alert living, is important. So, then only it can happen. That's what he is trying to say, yeah.
A jnani does not disturb people, nor gets disturbed by them. Yasmat na udvijate lokaha. The one because of whom yasmat, people, lokaha, do not get disturbed. Na udvijate lokaha. Lokaha is the collective singular here. There is a person who is not a source of agitation for any living being. Further, he himself does not get disturbed by the world. Loka na udvijate cha yaha. This spontaneous expression of a jnani is an important sadhana for the mumukshu.
Yeah, that is how we have to look at it. Yeah.
is not afraid of the world, which though it is a great accomplishment, is not enough. Even a tyrant does not seem to be afraid of the world, but he is not one from whom the world has no fear. Yasmat na udvijate lokaha. Both have to be said. Fear of the world and therefore dependence upon it is largely based on self-judgment. What you think about yourself is one aspect of it, but what others think is an integral part of self-judgment. Then there is further complication of the difference between what others think and what you think they think. You can see how much you live in your own thought world. Let us see the fallacies of some of this thinking. What I think about myself is negated by the Shastra as not true, and what others think about me, I do not really know. They view me through their own projections of which I have no knowledge, and my objectivity is obscured by my own fears and anxieties. If my estimation of myself is not very great, my conclusions about what others think of me is not going to be difficult to predict. Conditioned by my own thinking about myself, I draw conclusions about what others think of me. And what others think seems to be very important. We spend so much time and energy convincing others that we are not what they think. This is all because our security and happiness depend upon the world in the form of opinions of others. Their frowns and smiles seem to determine when we are happy or unhappy. Here, however, is a person who has no fear of being disturbed by the world. A foolhardy person also may respond fearlessly to situations, but he or she will eventually be disturbed. The fearlessness that Bhagavan is talking of here is not that of a tyrant or of foolhardiness. You can be disturbed by others only to the extent you allow them to disturb you, and others will be disturbing as long as you depend on them for a sense of well-being. If you think you are a mortal, subject to limitations, imperfections and inadequacies, then all these form your self-identity, and it is impossible for you not to be dependent upon situations. You even want to please God. Though you may be in the good graces of the people you know, you find they cannot help you much. Therefore, you want the grace of Bhagavan. The fundamental notion of a sense of imperfection centered on yourself is the basis for disturbance. That situation cannot be altered until you are released from the sense of imperfection by the knowledge of I. Here Krishna is talking about the one who is pursuing the knowledge of Akshara Brahma as identical with Atma. He is free from any sense of imperfection in spite of the fact that the body, senses and the mind are imperfect because of self does not have any of these features. They belong to Anatma, which is Mithya, and thus do not in any way condition the self, which is the Satya form from which they draw their very existence. In the wake of this knowledge, one is not disturbed, loka na udvijate.
See, the previous para that you can be disturbed by others only to the extent you allow them to disturb you. And this para where it is talking about Akshara Brahma is identical with Atma are almost like opposite poles. One is there, the second para is the
world.
The end. The first para is where you begin the journey. Okay. So, it only means, and that too we are discussing at the 12th chapter, almost the end of both the Swampadartha and Tattvadartha, that is you and the world are almost complete. The discussion is complete. At that time we are talking about, the thing is that what I am now and what I want to be. Okay. So, why? Because unless there is a value for this identity of Atma with Aksharam Brahma, that is Brahma Vidya, your yoga will not get established. The Yoga Shastra, the Karma Yoga, that is why Swamiji always say, Karma Yoga is not doing social work without taking salary. That is not Karma Yoga. That is service. But Karma Yoga that is being talked about in Gita is only to prepare the mind internally, the infrastructure to be ready to absorb the Aksharam Brahma as your reality. For Atma and Ishvara, the Surupa, Aksharam Brahma, whatever you call it, Desa Kala Vastu Parichinnam as a reality, that Mumukshutvam is nothing but understanding that freedom. That moksha is freedom. Mumukshu is one who has a value for that freedom. If that, unless that is fairly well established, your ability or your wanting to be a sadhaka and acquire the qualities of a jnani, sadhana, by your living style, by ensuring a day to day you don't get into this udvega situation, extreme emotions and all that, that will become meaningful. So that is why we have to keep on repeatedly saying this and this alternately. What is the sadhana, what is sadhya, siddha purushas, what is spontaneously, what is spontaneously, you should develop as your quality. That is why he is telling both the things together. So we have to appreciate that and then look at how I have to be to grow into that. That's what we have to do. Yeah.
This can also be viewed as a sadhana, in which case the statement Yaha Lokatna Udvijate is to be understood to mean one who does not worry about what others think. You are responsible for your emotions and actions, not those of others. It's a matter of not internalizing the behavior of others without recklessness or lack of care. You do take care to make sure that your behavior does not disturb, which is all that you can really take care of. In spite of that, others will sometimes get disturbed, but you are not responsible for it, nor can you do anything about it except pray. So, as a sadhana, you assume responsibility for your actions and emotions and do not let yourself get disturbed by those of others.
So that is what I was telling, no, previously that, what is that, your Ashtavakara Gita, I was telling, no, you, as far as you are concerned, you must be Tushtaha, Satyaha, Arjavam. With reference to dealing with others, you must have empathy and accommodation. So, when you are trying to be like that, you will be expecting the same thing from others. When it doesn't happen, when that fellows are showing extreme emotions, you will get disturbed. That should not happen. Because that will not help you grow in the right direction. That fellow can be emotional, I can also be emotional. So, sort of a peer pressure will come. That should not happen. Irrespective of, in this, the journey, you are a loner. You cannot compare yourself with others. No, they are like that, so I am like this. No. You are already moving in a, you are already, in the sense, you are, Bhagavan Swamiji always used to say that only when the river, I think I have told also, only when the river, wherever it turns towards its origin, it is called Tirtham, Kshetram. Then wherever the river goes against the current, against the flow, that is where it is called Punya Kshetram. The same way your mind, when it goes against what people around you behave, because you don't want to be a conformist with reference to what others think of me, how they behave and all that. You understand what is reality, what is the real value and go for it. So unless you do that, you will always be worried about what others think of me and all that. You should not let yourself get disturbed by emotions of others or actions of others. That is what he is trying to say. Yeah.
Sometimes, Swamiji, that shouldn't make a person arrogant also. I don't care what others think of me.
Yeah, that's why he has told very clearly. So it is not the question of, he says, no, you don't have to be without ruthless and the lack of care. See, that is why I am saying empathy and acceptance. You have to accept the other person's, you have to empathize in the sense, you know where he comes from, what is his background, what is the situation in the family because of which he is behaving like that. You must be able to empathize. At the same time, don't internalize his behavior into your personality. Both are equally important. You must be able to accept them as they are. At the same time, you don't display the qualities of extreme emotions. Both are equally important. Yeah.
And the world should not be afraid of you, which is unavoidable if you are a competitor. That is why it is said that the jnani is a sannyasi. Since he is free and happy with himself, he has no need to prove himself by acquiring things. Any attempt to acquire necessarily involves competition, and a person who is competing in society is bound to disturb one person or the other. Therefore, to be a person from whom the world has nothing to fear, the sannyasi takes a vow of ahimsa, as we saw. Even the gods and celestials are called by name and are openly told, do not be afraid, I am not coveting your position. This is his primary vow and assurance to all living beings, from the gods to the trees, that he will never harm them in any way. Then he is given sannyasa. Wanting to gain the knowledge of Akshara Brahma, the sannyasi gives this abhaya to all living beings and pursues his studies. You can understand what kind of life it is, a very alert life, making sure that no one gets disturbed. Though you may not disturb others, you may get disturbed.
So I have a question. You talked about river turning direction and all that.
To the origin.
I didn't understand that.
Yeah, in the sense, see, for example, Ganga comes from that Bhagirathi, from that Gomukh and all that. And certain places where that other rivers come and join, like Sangamam, places like certain places, Rudraprayag, Devaprayag and all that, there, because of the confluence of rivers, other rivers joining and all that, temporarily it will change direction. It will change direction towards and then again go back to its normal flow. That place where a constriction is there happening because of the rivers coming together, whatever reason, where it looks like it is turning back to the source, there the current also will be very different. And also they say it's all Punya Kshetram. If you take Snanam there and all that, it will be good. It's in the sense symbolic it is. What I am telling you is it is symbolic that you have to go, you have to antarmukhi, you have to go back to your source. The only way to, in this context of our study, you are going back to your source of where it all originated. Antarmukhi bhava. That is why then only your mind and your life can become a kshetram. Kshetram means where everything nice will happen. For you as well as for others. For you to become a kshetram, you have to become antarmukhi bhava. Since you have to start looking at life differently, internally, rather than all the time looking for outside aggrandizement, raga dvesha. That is what is the meaning. This is the meaning of that kshetram. Actually, kshetram means field, but kshetram is field where harvest can happen, where vriddhi can happen, the paddy or crops can grow. Because anything mangalakaramana can happen only in a kshetram. That is why it's called kshetram. Our body is supposed to be kshetram. Because we are all supposed to be mukta purushas, in the sense essentially we are supposed to, because from here we cannot evolve into something other than being a mukta purusha. Because there is a height of evolution that even science talks about like that.
Though you may not disturb others, you may get disturbed. Unpleasant situations can provoke anger, and if you cannot express it, it gets repressed and your whole personality gets distorted. Just imagine yourself as a person who does not get disturbed by the world. No matter what happens or what anyone says or does, you do not get disturbed, but keep doing whatever is to be done without disturbing anyone. Think of what kind of person you would be. You will find you are a free person. Freedom is nothing but that which is centered on you. Not disturbing others and not being disturbed by others is possible only when the ahankara is dissolved in the wake of the knowledge that the self is akatta, abhokta, because ahankara alone is responsible for any katrutva and bhoktrutva. Unless this is very clear, it is not possible to accomplish this totally. As a value, it can be pursued to improve your tolerance level, but it is total only in the wake of the knowledge of Aksharam Brahma.
So that is why I was telling the Hetu and Hetumat Bhava. The Aksharam Brahma is the Hetu. If that is getting established more and more, the Hetumat, that extreme emotions, ahankara, the katrutva, bhoktrutva, attachment, all this will go. Only when this is that value for Aksharam Brahma, value for the knowledge of Aksharam Brahma is taking root in your life. So, the other thing, okay, you can ensure that you don't get into extreme emotions, that is the sadhana part of it. But the sadhana, you must have a value for. The value for sadhana will come only when you have a value for that I want to be a fulfilled person in life. So, Hetu and Hetumat Bhava is very important. Because people will think, no, if I am a good person, that is enough. But it won't last long. It only something extreme has to happen, that's all, for that fellow to become bad. Fellow till yesterday he would have been a great bhakta, because suddenly something bad happened, he will become a totally atheist. He will say, see, I have worshipped this Bhagavan for a long time, from my childhood, but see, this has happened to me, he has not taken care of me, so I don't believe in that God. Now one day he will change the whole thing. Because that is not an assimilated value. That oneness with Bhagavan is the reality. That should be the assimilated value. Then only you will not. Otherwise, what will happen? If you are looking at Ishvara Upasana as only a person who will take care of all your ills, not all the time it can happen. Sometimes it may happen, sometimes it may not happen. Or something really bad can happen in your life because of whatever reason. It may not be because of God. But you will say, no, I have been worshipping Him all the time. This happened to me. So that's all, no? In the sense, it's all only crutches. You should not live on crutches. You must try to understand the reality of life. That understanding life. That is why my whole approach is understanding life. It is not a question of getting this or getting that, or even understanding, I've got a Shastra knowledge. All those things are not important. What is important is my life I have to understand from its brass tacks. Very important. Then only we have a value for it. Then only everything can be built up. Unless your foundation is good, whatever you build up will not last. So all this sadhana, yoga, Makkal Sevai, Maheshan Sevai, all this yoga people do social service. They don't understand Karma Yoga, it's not Karma Yoga. They do social service out of habit. They have developed a value for it, they keep doing it. But you just keep doing it mechanically, become a part of a philanthropic organization, become a social service organization, become an NGO and start working at it. That doesn't make you a Karma Yogi. So the karma, that is why the Karma Yoga that is explained in Gita is a way. Karma Yoga has to be understood. That comes essentially as a mumukshutvam. Mumukshutvam meaning a person who values freedom, moksha. What is that moksha? Moksha is not just not getting rebirth. That is not moksha. Moksha is freedom here and now. I understand that the reality of my life is Aham Brahmasmi. What has been told in the sense. That is the reality. Desa Kala Vastu Aparichinnam. The being is the reality of my life. Everything else is built on it because of the glory of this being, which I have always explained. The glory of the being expands into Jagat. Like even a glory of atom expands into matter and energy. Like even a glory of sun, nothing but so many nuclear fissions and fusions continuously happening. Likewise, our Atma being, when it explodes, is the whole Jagat. And that is the sannityam of your reality. That we have to have a value for that. Then everything else will fall in place. Karma Yoga will fall in place. Service mentality will fall in place. So, the sense, unless you understand life in its essence, in its nucleus, these values will not stay as values for long. Typical example is Nachiketas in Kathopanishad. He says, Dharma and Adharma he doesn't value Dharma, even though he is from a Vaidika family. Big Vedic Pandit. He says, no, Dharma will not give me stress. It is okay temporarily. But what is Dharma Tanyat, Adharma Tanyat? Beyond Dharma and Adharma, Atma Jnanam, your reality. Teach me that. Same thing, Narada also tells to Sanat Kumara in Chandogya Upanishad. He says, I know Sanat Kumara is a young boy. He is asking. Narada tells him, I am not happy. Then he asks, you are such a big sage moving through 3 worlds. Everyone knows Narada. Why are you not happy? What all you know? Then he enumerates. He says, I know so much of 9 type of grammars, so much of Niruktam, so much of astrology, so much of everything I know, he says. But Sanat Kumara tells him, everything you know, but you don't know, knowing which, you'll be happy. Then he tells, teach me. Then he tells, this is Atmanastu, this is what it is, Atma Bhuma Vidya. He calls it Bhuma Vidya, meaning what is Sresh for you is same thing what Arjuna asked for from Bhagwan, Atma Jnana. Unless you understand your reality, any amount of qualification will not help you. So every Upanishad brings in a certain context, certain circumstance wherein this Atma Jnanam is highlighted. That is what now we are getting into. That is why the Jnani is free from exaltation, intolerance, fear and pain. You will explain further. We will go on like this for some more time about Jnanis. Yeah. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om